freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported talk radio station, throwing ourselves upon the gears of the machine. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
You called down the thunder, well now you got it.
Right, you tell them I'm coming, and hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Revolution Radio!
Welcome, everyone, to I Am Nature. Brian Porter, your host, is with you again this week. And as everyone knows who listens to my show, and maybe those who don't listen on a regular basis, this show is all about activism. It's about fixing a planet that is close to dying. And so there's no excuses, folks. Everyone has to lend a hand because the mother needs us, and the mother's our greatest ally. So I have the most amazing activist on with me this week. Her name is Jolie Diane. Jolie, are you with me?
Yes. Hi, Brian.
Hey, can you get a little closer to your mic?
Sure.
Sometimes when we switch to the live studio, the sound volume goes down. I'm not sure why, but I always get a little closer. So, Jolie Diane. Am I saying your first name right, Jolie?
Yeah, you're saying it perfectly. Thank you.
Are you French?
No, actually, I'm not. My parents were just creative. No, my dad's name is John, and my mom's name's Linda, so they took the Joli, and then they added an E for the feminine. So, yay, thanks, Mom.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a very French name, and I'm up here in Canada, and I'm actually in Quebec right now, so I'm surrounded by the beautiful French-Canadian ambiance. So, but hey, this is a show where I want to get people involved. I've got a number here, 310-421-4053, 310-421-4053. I want you to call in about half an hour once we get the basic logistics of what Jolie is up to, which is something that I think everybody who is listening to this show should get involved in. It's very minimally costs almost nothing to do, and she's actually raising money to pay for it. And there's no excuse. I mean, we all have to deal with this issue of geoengineering. They're spraying the skies daily with toxic chemicals, and we got to deal with it. Now, the other way to call in is to Skype me at bporter5611, BPORTER 5611. All right? You send me a contact request if we're not already friends, and I will hook you up. You'll be live on the radio. It'll be hundreds of thousands of people listening to you, your friends, whatnot. This show is archived. It's going to be put on a podcast, so there'll be a permanent record of your involvement. And that's what we want, folks. We want people to get involved. All right, Jolie. So, what I always ask all my guests is, what on earth got you so tied in to fixing this planet and fighting against geoengineering? I love to hear the stories, the life experiences that turn them on and put them going in the right direction.
Yeah, Brian, it's such an important question, and it's different for everyone. I was in California, and I had a very successful dog walking / pet care business, and so I was outside quite a bit, like 7 days a week from basically 6 in the morning till 10 at night. So I saw the sky, and I was just very upset. And I noticed starting in 2006, there's something kind of going on, because usually you'd see the aircraft emissions and they would quickly dissipate and evaporate. You wouldn't see them, no big deal. But this was different, and I knew it, and I didn't let it go. And I called my reps, actually, at the time. I called Feinstein, Boxer, and Woolsey at the time. Now it's Huffman. And they all wrote me the same form letter, and they said, "Girl, don't you worry. It's just water vapor. It's no big deal. There's no problem here. So you just rest assured. Air Force told us it's no big deal. So calm down." So that was 2006, and I was like, well, I don't know. So then it just, 2010, I was still calling, trying to reach them. And then 2010, I just noticed it really started getting bad. And then, I was trying to do whatever. Anyway.
Where were you living then?
Where am I now?
No, where were you living back then?
Well, I was back in California. out in
Part.
San Rafael, up north of San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
I love it there.
Oh, it's really, really bad there now.
Yeah, it's horrendous. I drove cross country actually, so I saw it all across the country. It's the same kind of blueprint, and it's solar radiation
Well, I
management.
think they're getting extra in California. I think that,
Yeah.
and that's caused this drought and whatnot. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so that was, basically it. I was seeing it every day. I knew something was wrong. My representatives were unresponsive, and I just got sick of them not answering my calls. So last year, I just kind of put my life on hold and decided to come to DC to get into the offices of the policymakers. So that's what I did. I just, I hadn't been on Facebook or anything before that, but the first thing I did, I wanted to find out, well, who was doing what. And I discovered, a lot of the people, Clifford Carnicom, Dean Wigington, Michael J. Murphy, Alana Freeland, so many.
All have been on my show except for Clifford. I haven't hooked up with him yet. Yeah.
Oh, remarkable people! Just they have given their lives for this. We could just spend the whole show talking about all the amazing activists, and that's how I really feel. Because last year, honestly, I was kind of distraught. I didn't really know what was going to happen, and I was just seeing this all across the country. And I asked hundreds of people on the way across. I was like, "Do you know about geoengineering? Do you see what's in the sky?" And they were like, "No, I don't really look up at the sky that much." And I was all like, okay. So I made my way out here. I've had over 100 visits to different congressional offices. I was able to consult with Rosalind Peterson for a great length of time. She was very gracious and
You went through that quick. You visited 100 different congressional members?
Not the members, the offices.
Okay.
See, understand that the reason that there's people answering the phones there is so those people in the offices never have to see you or talk to you. That's why it's true. It's true, and that's why you have to. Once you figure out that it's a dance, then if you show up there looking like a lawyer, in your suit and your professional attire, and you got your briefcase, you're one of the gang. So you just kind of blend in, and they'll offer you refreshments when you go in there. Yeah. So this is essentially what we're saying.
You've created a lobbying sort of aura, and I did the same thing many years ago. And actually, it's pretty cool. They treat you like an equal. You get to know them. I spent copious amounts of time doing this, about 2 years, and I made some inroads. Not as much as I would have liked, but it's certainly an option. It's something that we do not do enough of in activism. Believe
absolutely. Absolutely, and that kind of is essentially the point, and especially at this time, because geoengineering is just one of the campaigns that I've worked on over the years. I've been involved in the anti-war movement since after 9/11 and the 9/11 and closed Guantanamo.
Yeah, I noticed that your picture is 9/11 Truther on your Facebook page.
I think that it's it's all part of the endless web of deceit. And you can't look at just one thing. It's just you can't be a one issue person. It's impossible, because if you're against geoengineering, then you're against GMOs, you're against fracking, you're against smart meters, because all the technologies intertwine. So vaccines, yes,
nuclear power plants, Fukushima, the list goes on and on. It's all what I like to say, basically toxin release into the environment. This is the big enemy. This is what ties into my theme of I am nature. Everything natural is beautiful and what we need. Everything unnatural we have to get rid of. And then everything will be fine. Everything will recover.
Absolutely, because the nature of the planet is regenerative. And we experience that every time that we get a boo-boo, and then it heals. It just, that's our nature. I am nature.
We're a perfect replication and an example of the biosphere. It's a truly remarkable system. All this technology, we think we're so smart. Honestly, we can't touch what the mother has done and her helpers, her nature spirits, her elementals. A lot of people don't understand this anymore, but we used to live and thrive in this environment, and we've got to find a way to integrate the technology, find and recycle things, get rid of the toxins, and we'll be okay. And I said the planet is dying. Like, we have lost 52% of the biomass in the last 40 years. I mean, to me, that shows the planet is dying. It's pretty serious, folks. I know there's a lot of great people listening to Revolution Radio. I appreciate you support us and whatnot, but knowing the problem is not enough. We have to do something about it. That's the next stage in our spiritual development. As I often say, activists are the most spiritually aligned people on the planet, and I mean that.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
We're listening to the mother, and she's talking to everybody, not just you and me, but everybody, and she's saying, hey, wake up. This has got to stop. I can't fix everything, folks. If you're going to put radiation everywhere and spray the atmosphere every day with toxic chemicals, there's only so much we can do to help you. You have to do your part. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to just go back to what you said about the stats. And I think that we should be always questioning statistics. We should always be questioning the truth of the statistics, because the fact of the matter, we are consciousness, and it's malleable, and so whatever we focus our attention on is what will emerge. So if we're focusing on something exterior and these vague, facts of numbers and stuff, this is away from the mother. You know what I mean? So we have to question the
Well, we
stats.
got to stay positive. We got to stay positive, but we have to listen to the, the estimations. We have to realize, for whatever moves you. I mean, we're all a little different. I mean, nature loved difference, and that's why we all look different. And that's why everything here is unique. So we're different, but we're also connected to the soil and the biosphere. So we have to appreciate that. That's the one thing we have to preserve, and we have to maintain, I call it almost like a warrior, spiritual warrior kind of focus. And we have to fight for the mother. The mother needs us. We're part of the problem. We're actually the biggest problem right now. We, as in our politicians, our power structure, not necessarily you and I, but I mean,
Right.
but we're all partly connected.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody here is perfect. I mean, we're
Yeah, well, we're part of the problem and we're part of the solution too.
Yeah.
And that's what I was really hoping to like kind of bring into focus and help people, because you can see that it's happening in our movement and in many movements. A lot of people are waking up, and it's awesome. And I think that the next step in our activism as far as protest goes is we're excited about this model that we have, that we're going to take those 5,000 or 10,000 or maybe 50,000 or 1 million people would be awesome, but get everybody dressed up in their Sunday best. Get in your suit. Get in your nice outfit. You don't have to go buy anything, please, but you can put your best foot forward, get your briefcase. We will provide you with documents. And this is what the legislators do not want to see. They could care less, and they can ignore us forever. And they'll just send the police out to kick our behinds, and they could care less. But what they do care about, and what they fear the most, and what we have smoking gun documents about, is getting a lawsuit, and specifically about these weather modification and geoengineering programs. So again, we take these people, these same demonstrators again, and you just change outfits. And you walk into those offices in groups of 2, 3, 5. We're saying, get your friends. Get your friends together. Have a morning where you go and you deliver the documents to put your states on notice to these offices. You don't have to explain geoengineering. We won the case because there's aluminum in the precipitation. So we're paying, we're trying to raise money so our activists can just collect the evidence. They didn't think that we would bother to read the university studies or collect the rain. Maybe that's why they're trying to prevent us from collecting the rain. Too bad. I have samples in my refrigerator. I have 5 rain samples. I have 2 snow samples in the freezer. I have samples downstairs. If I could do it, I would, I don't have the money for it. It's $125 about just just to get 4 elements tested, but it's important because it's a professional analysis that can hold up in a court of law, and that's what we're talking about. So when we're talking about changing the conversation, well, yeah, let's get into the conversation, because if we're standing in the street holding signs, guess what? They don't care, and they will not. And guess what? They want us to get violent. That's what they're set up for. They've built the FEMA camps. They got the vaccines ready. Da da da. But what they're not ready for is a citizen or a civilian action response that's going to be on offense. Because let's face it, we've been on defense forever. These people have been taking our money. They have been poisoning us. The organizing principle is based on violence directed at ourselves. It just doesn't make sense. So we're ready for that consciousness human upgrade. And this is how we'll do it. We'll actively engage the system, and we will be the system. We got to get in those offices. We got to get out of the streets and out of our, scaggy clothes from the freaking 90s and get up to speed, because we have the biggest freaking class action lawsuit happening right now. They are so scared. There's nothing they can do about it because there's aluminum in the precipitation, and that is the SRM footprint. End of story. Done. Prove that they're not doing it. That's what. Okay,
Jolie. Okay, let's just slow it down a bit, because I want you to get into more detail about what you're doing. Okay, so my understanding is the first thing you want people to do is to get their rainwater tested.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So explain how that happens, how that's done, and how you can help them.
All right, so basically what you want to do is you want to get a clean, sterile jar, or I use a pan, a casserole pan, and catch your rainwater. You want to try to, you can strain it if there's stuff that blows into it. That's okay. But you want to try to keep your sample pure. So you just collect your sample. We try to get a cup. And then you have it in a mason jar, and
yeah, I can say a mason jar is great, because you won't spill. You can, it's all glass, so there's no way it's going to be infected by other elements if it's clean.
Exactly.
Not plastic, which they could, BPH could get in there or whatever. So you want to use something that's glass, a container that's glass, and a mason jar is perfect. Okay, so that's step 1. Get your rainwater collected. Then what do we do? Step 2.
Okay, and then once you get it, put it in the fridge, label it. Label the day, and it's the California rain, 4/23, something like that. And so you have that in your refrigerator. Then what you're going to do is we'll make arrangements to, we have a GoFundMe page up, and we'll make arrangements to help you get that shipped and cover the shipping costs. And we're doing it all over the world. And you will ship it to, we have several labs, and we'll give you the name of one, and we'll just start collecting our evidence. And this way we can do it quickly, because we don't have to ask anybody to take their $125 to, that they might need for food for the week or something. But we can really get the work done, and I don't want anyone to spend any money. We can do this. We just need our people power, and that's our advantage. So.
Okay, well okay, so basically you collect the water, you label it, and then you're going to contact you. So the next key component in the solution is, how do people connect with you?
You're going to go to our brand new page. It's called Civilian Action Team. And Olga and I said.
And is that on Facebook?
That's on Facebook, yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask my buddy Warren here, who's helping us out today, to throw that in the chat room. And that will help people. And I'm going to, again, reiterate what I said earlier. People, give us a call if you're interested, or I shouldn't say if you're interested. Call us. We have to work together on the solution. Sitting around and learning and not helping is actually a great recipe for depression. When you're sitting around listening to all this bad news coming in nonstop, and oh God, this world's going to end. Well, folks, we can prevent that from happening if we get involved. That is the key, and this is why people like Diane and Jolie and I are so pumped up and energetic, because we're helping the mother recover. We're on the right side of the force, folks, and it gives you power. It gives you endurance. It gives you energy. And this is what we need in tough times.
Exactly. Yeah, we have to stand up for the planet and the trees and all the wildlife that doesn't have
Oh
a
yeah, I mean,
voice.
geoengineering's killing everything. There ain't any type of life form that isn't being affected. I mean,
Yeah.
man, the mass, like I say, the mass die-off is, whether you put it in a percentage, it's well documented, and there ain't anybody in any ecological science that doesn't agree that it's happening.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Did you want to go on with the story, or I had a little piece of activism that people could do if they're in New York City on Monday?
Well, we let's just get this straight. So we got this grain sample. We're going to collect it in a glass jar. We're going to label it, and then we're going to contact you through. Just want to get this out again. There's a new Facebook page. It's called Civilian Action Team. You got that right? Is that right?
You got it.
Okay, civilian. I got a longer version. Civilian Action Team Marine Lab Tests. Is that the name of your GoFundMe page?
Yes, that is.
Okay, so that's a bit different than the Facebook page, or are they exactly the same?
Well, that link is in the Facebook page, but that's actually a different link.
Now, the other option would be to just go directly to you on
Yeah.
Facebook, because your name is so cool and it's so easy.
Thank
So, Jolie, Jolie, second name, Diane, Diane. Very simple to remember that, folks. Jolie Diane. I found her today in a second on Facebook. You go to Jolie, and she has everything there. I was just reading. I spent the last hour or so before the show reading. You've got some awesome information on that Facebook page.
Oh,
I just looked at the first article. I mean, man, you've really done some awesome work, and we're going to get more into that as the interview goes on. But there's a lot of cool stuff there on her personal page, and I'm sure this brand new page is probably got the same kind of information. But you definitely got to check out her personal page too. It's really she's been doing some amazing activism, and I'm so glad I forgot to thank Suzanne Mayer, because she's the one who put me onto you and what you're doing, and I'm just so thrilled that and last minute, I mean, you came on. My other guest got sick, so he couldn't make it, but I'm really glad that you made time to come on my show today.
Oh, what a pleasure, Brian. I'm so glad. And Suzanne is such a powerhouse. I mean, she's phenomenal as far as in our activism community. And, that's what I'm saying. Like, in the last year, once I've learned about all these fantastic people, it just changed my attitude and my feeling of confidence and everything. And, like, all these just amazing scholarly people that are sharing the information, and passionate people that are just out in the streets and doing what needs to be done, which is get on the phone, be calm, and engage these people, because we're going to change the conversation. And so after you send in your tests and everything, and we'll get it back and we'll send you a copy of the report.
Okay, now what about money now? A lot of people that listen to Revolution Radio don't have a lot of money.
Right. Well, that's why we set up a GoFundMe page to raise money to cover the tests, and that's
so. Let's say you're broke and you have no money and you can't help the GoFundMe, but hey, everybody has a computer. If you're listening to this show, you probably have a computer, and I can almost guarantee you do. And you have a Facebook page or a social media network. You can circulate this GoFundMe thing till all day, to all your friends, to everybody, every group you're on, and that will help raise money.
Exactly. And I can't even emphasize enough how important it is for the people that are doing what they're doing online, sharing information. That's critical. And not everybody's able to get out. So we're making our campaign all about the people that are in front of the computer, okay? You can be like the Civilian Action Team. We're going to have a daily call-in, and we'll have a soundbite or whatever the theme is for the day.
Are you trying to create a family of activists?
Well, I know people like to do this, and it's fun. Once you like seriously, these calls work. I mean, like, you don't have to leave your house. That's the thing. You can go. You can be like one of the professionals that go, or even like a mom or dad. A family going in there is good, especially if you have like some sort of asthma or respiratory suffering with some sort of, you know, respiratory illness. But anyway, you'll just be going into these offices, and yeah, we're going to be changing the discussion. And
well, the key thing is to have thousands upon thousands of tests that all show the same thing: high aluminum, high barium, high strontium. Right. Those are the three things you're testing for.
Right. Yes.
See, when you have if it's just 10 people, well, just bad luck. But if you have thousands of people all over the U.S., and then you're also we'll get into this later, but I don't want to do this now, but you're moving into other countries, which is just unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
12 countries.
So impressed. So we'll leave that for a later piece. But the key, folks, is the more evidence collected, the more powerful the argument. Okay, that everything, this is going on everywhere, not just in Maryland and not just in California, but it's going on all over the place. It's happening in Canada. It ain't so bad where I am, but it's really bad in Toronto, Montreal, any of the big cities, all along the border. It's just terrible. You know, when I'm in Toronto, I'm right near the lake. I just look out. I go to the lake almost every day, and I just look out and you see they just love to go right along the middle of the lake. Yeah. It's just, oh.
Well, now every time I see them doing that, I'm thinking of this huge lawsuit, and it changes the context, because I feel like, yeah, we've been on defense, now we're on offense.
Well, okay, I want you to talk about, I want people to realize that you're making progress. This isn't just, you've done more than just collect evidence. You've got a meeting. Yeah. Tell me this, the key kind of things. I was reading, I'm sure there's more to what you're doing than I even know, but one of the things I did notice is that you got a meeting with the Maryland Department of Health on April 20th, which is in about 2 weeks, or 1 week,
yes,
which is fantastic. And what are you going to say at this meeting?
Well, the meeting is with the Attorney General's office, the Deputy Attorney General, and these people are finally catching up with me. We're going to be talking about the fact that there's aluminum in the precipitation, and that's just going back to the rain tests, because, you know, honestly, we already won the case because we have thousands of rain tests, okay? What we're doing is we're changing the context, and I'm saying, well, no, we don't want to try to prove that you're doing this and that and the other thing. Why don't you just prove that you're not doing it? So we'll hand them with our documents that we'll be providing the activists. And then the activists will walk in, they'll be like, yeah, here's my aluminum in my precipitation. You know, that's like another nail in the coffin of this system, because, yeah, you know what? We're going to have to go after the Pentagon. Yes.
I mean, ask them to do their job. They're supposed to be protecting the environment.
Yeah, you can't do
your job. I've done it for you. I don't know why you haven't been testing the rainwater. Is that not normal protocol in your agency to test the rainwater? I mean, come on. I mean, these people are getting millions of dollars in tax dollars. It's the same in Canada. I mean, I just pull my hair out when I call the Department of the Environment. They do nothing, and we can't even talk to these people. There's, like you say, you got to go in there. So I'm really glad you got over that barrier.
You do, and it's an exercise in patience, Brian. It is.
Yeah.
Because, first of all,
kudos to you.
They don't want to talk to you. Well, there's a lot of people.
How long did it take you to set up this meeting? I mean, I'm so impressed.
They finally, first of all, we have had a little campaign going for the last, couple of weeks. People have been helping me and making the calls, and I actually, when I got the rain test back, and this is part of the procedure, when you get your rain test back, you can go and talk to your neighbors and be like, oh, by the way, there's this much aluminum in our precipitation, and that's why your tree is dead, and that's why you have asthma, and that's, and so it's just these are all the unintended consequences and of the fact that these programs deliberately are violating pre-existing state laws. So these are federal programs that are already violating deliberately state laws. So
you have this amazing letter on your site. Sorry to interrupt you, but I mean, you have proof. You got this letter
done
from. It's written to the a U.S. senator named Kay Bailey Hutchison. They had a meeting about this in 2005 and about weather modification research and development. And this letter, I don't know if you want to get into the contents of it, but it basically says that we don't think it's a smart thing to be messing with the weather, and it goes into all the ramifications, liability, foreign policy, national security, international treaties, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are basically telling these people that it's not a smart thing to do. Anyone to modify the weather. It's really, again, as you say, against the law. Well, I mean, we'll let the lawyers haggle that out. I mean, I know that we live in a military-industrial complex, and they have all these bloody ways out of provisions and whatnot. But we have to fight them. We have to go after them. I'm not saying they're not going to try to justify it through experimentation and all this crap that they've got all these damn laws that they figure give them permission to do this stuff. But at least if we can get people to understand that this is happening, and maybe some of the politicians will say, hey, Kucinich was right back in 2001. They are doing this stuff. We should have stopped it back then.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that Dennis Kucinich actually was on the ball that much. That's just kind of how he was, and I actually was involved in his campaign. I didn't realize at the time I was helping him in the 2003 primaries in New Hampshire, and we were in this pact.
You were involved with this campaign. Good for you.
Oh, 2 of them, yeah. And this one was like in a college. Might have been at New Hampshire, and there was a full auditorium, and a gentleman got up and he asked about chemtrails, and this was 2003. It was packed auditorium, and everyone was like, no one really knew what he was talking about, including myself. And I thought, what the hell is he talking about? There's a war coming, and I had no idea. And then I wish I would have paid more attention to him. And then so now, what is it? 13 years later, here we are, and Dennis J. Kucinich did introduce that legislation. I'm trying to contact him actually. He has something called Kucinich Consultants now, so I actually have a call into him.
Is he still in government?
He has a consulting business, but he'll always be active.
But he's no longer active. He's no longer like a representative, like a congressman anymore.
No, he's not up on the Hill anymore.
Did he retire or what?
He got voted out. They put the money into the candidate to oppose him, and he was out of there. Like sort of what happened. Yeah, it happens a lot. They did that to Cynthia McKinney. That's how they roll over there. Because if you're not following the military-industrial complex, then you're not in the big club.
Mm-hmm. They make extra efforts to get you out.
Oh, yeah. He was the only decent one. I mean, I wasn't even into politics at all until I heard Dennis Kucinich speak. And then I was like, whoa, okay, I will tune in then, because this man...
How long has he been out of politics? I mean, as a representative, not involved.
Yeah, I think he got voted out a few years ago.
So the last election, back in, what would that have been, 2010 maybe?
Maybe
2012. No, it's probably 2012.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sad. It's like, well, but that's just part of the machine. The machine's not going to allow decent people in there. That's why, again, civilians are so essential right now at this moment in time to get into those offices, get on those phones. The last thing that these people want to see is us. And so if we show up well dressed, articulate in their offices, and if you don't want to go to the office, get on the phone, and just all you have to say is, hey, I saw the lab tests. There's aluminum in the precipitation. I'm concerned. What are you doing about it? That's it. Don't say anything about geoengineering or anything. They're on the hook because there's aluminum in the precipitation, which is the SRM footprint. Let's pull a Monsanto. What's the SRM footprint doing in our precipitation? We'll have to study that closer. And in the meantime, we're going to have to stop these people from doing it. So, yeah, we got to do what we got to do. And, we're working with a lot of different people to try to do this. And, again, we're going internationally now because we just decided, look, there's so many awesome people. And it doesn't have anything to do with government. It's just let's connect with serious activists and folks that are interested in engaging the political process worldwide. So that's what we've
Well,
done.
let's stick with this interview, though. You're going to go in there on the 20th. I want to, explore.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the things. Yeah, that's.
Are you going to go alone, or are you going to go with some friends? How are you setting it up?
I'm going to try to get the school nurse down here because 1,000 aluminum kind of correlates with the degree of asthma that we have here in this county, Baltimore County. Okay. And so the school nurse said, yeah, in the last several years, we've seen a dramatic increase in asthma in children. And how do we know this?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Well, look, sulfur, if you go and you Google David Keith talking about aluminum aerosols, geoengineering with aluminum aerosols, he talks about sulfur, he talks about aluminum, okay? That's what we found in our rain tests. But in 2008, and Rosalind Peterson, this is something that she shared with me, in 2008 and 2010, the United States took sulfur out of diesel fuel. And so we took it off the ground because why? It causes asthma in children. And it causes acid rain. So we took sulfur dioxide out of diesel fuel. No brainer. So what on earth, and here's the big part of the lawsuit, they are deliberately violating pre-existing state laws by going up in the sky and thinking they can dump however much they are dumping of these contaminants that we are finding, and we are finding the footprint. Aluminum, barium, strontium, titanium, arsenic. Hey, what's that doing in our precipitation? Okay, so somebody's supposed to be protecting us. I'm going to go see the Deputy Attorney General on the 20th, and yeah, I'm going to talk about exactly these issues, that there's aluminum in the precipitation, and as well as other things, and it's the SRM footprint, and it's not just that, it's the smart meter and Gwen technology that is also used in collaboration with these aerosol programs. So there's a lot on their plate. Believe me, they have no idea what I'm talking about. All I say.
Going to tape the interview you have with them, or make a movie? Do you think they'll let you do that?
I don't believe that I'm allowed to film in there unless I get a special permit. But you know what? I have stayed very professional because I'm also I try to do I do music videos and a little bit of production with an activism show called On Wide Lens. But I don't know. I didn't really approach it that way. I'm more approaching it like a legal team. I'm going to try to get the school principal and the school nurse to go with me. There's a couple of very
Are they aware of geoengineering?
Now they are, because I've showed everyone in my neighborhood these tests. I went to the community meeting a few weeks ago, and there were like 15 or 20 skeptical people sort of snickering at me. And by the end, they all have my documents and all the numbers that you need to call. And guess what? I got this call because these people in my neighborhood, they have asthma. Their trees are dying. You know, we have all kinds of problems over here. And
what sort of community meeting was it?
At the firehouse. It was just a community meeting at the firehouse. They have them once a month. And I've been like on the East Coast for about a year now, like gathering information and getting my case together, and getting fully sure that, you know, I know what I'm talking about. And so it's been over the course of the year. I've met these people. You know, I'm outside talking to them all the time. And finally, I got this info, showed them the tests, and now it's a different conversation.
Do you know I'm just thinking of synergies here, people who could help you. I don't know if you have time to arrange this, but there's a couple people in New Jersey. They're in the state legislature there. They've been trying to get a motion passed to ban geoengineering over their skies in New Jersey. I'm sure you're aware of those.
I'm not sure of that. I know that Rhode Island has a bill out, H757.
Oh, Rhode Island. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and I'm working.
I thought it was New Jersey. It's probably Rhode Island. Okay, well, they're not too far away from you.
It's Rhode Island because we're working closely with Representative Justin Price and Representative Karen McBeth, who introduced the legislation. And actually, this is about the second or third time that they've introduced the legislation. And what we're trying to do, and this is a really important part of our campaign, because, you know, right now you can call your state or senator or whatever, and you can say, look, Rhode Island has this legislation. It's called the Climate Geoengineering Act of 2016, H7578. And you can go and you can see the entire text. And then you can get on the phone and say, look, Rhode Island has a health and safety bill that they're introducing to protect their public's health and safety. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? We need to get on the phone, parents, especially teachers, administrators, professionals. We need to call them on it, because you know what? A lawsuit, we can go back to this letter that you were talking about from the Office of Science and Technology in December 2005. And Rosalind Peterson shared this with us. And basically...
explain who Rosalind Peterson is, just for people who don't know.
Oh, yes. Rosalind Peterson, and her website is www.agriculturedefensecoalition.org. agriculturedefensecoalition.org. And she used to work at the USDA and government jobs, and she has a background in agriculture, and she's been trying to blow the whistle on these programs since the 90s. Alex Jones did a good documentary with her called The Chemtrail Cover-Up. I would recommend that, because she really...
Is that available online?
Yeah, you can go on YouTube. Yeah, it's called The Chemtrail Cover-Up, and it's Rosalind Peterson. And she just has a remarkable way of explaining these programs. And in fact, she sent some amazing information yesterday. I have it on my page. I put a bunch of stuff from Rosalind Peterson up there, so you can go to my Facebook page and check it out. But anyway, she's been trying to blow the whistle, and she's, I try to emulate her because she's very professional. And everything she says is based on university studies.
Jolie, what I'm suggesting is this: is that the more people you go to this meeting with, I don't know if there's a limit on how many you can.
Yeah, I have to get cleared. I can only bring 2 other people, so it's not like a big. See, this is the thing. There's 2 people on my street that are very active. Just locally, I'm trying to get people that are already really dialed in here in the community.
Beautiful.
There's one woman who's 85. Her name is Martha. Okay, and at this community meeting that I went to last week, she was the one in charge. And these were skeptical people, and it's understandable. This stuff is far out, man. This science is way over everybody's head. There's no pun intended to that. So anyway, at the end of this talk I gave, it was maybe 15-20 minutes, just kind of talking about the lab results and what I was doing and who I was, who we were dealing with. And at the end of the meeting, I passed out my documents, and she said, "Hey, can you come to another meeting that I'm chairing?" And so, they were skeptical at first, but you know what? It adds up. It's like, that's why we have asthma. That's why the trees are dying. That's why the sky is just littered with pollution and filth all the time. It should not be like that. Our sky should be pristine and blue. It has, some people don't. If you're too young, then you don't know what the sky is supposed to look like. If you're old enough, you remember that there's these puffy white clouds. And maybe we don't remember, we're just imagining it, because from what I understand, they've been doing these weather modification programs for 50, 60, 70 years. Who knows? Ever since they got aviation, they've been dumping stuff into the sky. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, but I was talking about this letter from Rosalind Peterson from the Office of Science and Technology.
Well, this is, I was going to suggest trying to get her at this meeting, but it sounds to me like you don't have enough time, and she'd be a great ally to go in with.
She would. Well, I've been very careful to make sure to give these representatives all the relevant information, and so they have her information. They have everything. They have everything that I have gotten.
Oh, I'm sure they have her stuff, and I'm sure you're gonna, go through it all, and hopefully, how long is your meeting? Do you have a time slot?
I imagine that it's going to be about a half hour.
Oh,
and basically, you have to understand, I'm going to put them on notice. I'm not going for them to interview me. Okay? I'm going there, And I'm calling them on it. They were like, you want to do a phone meeting? I'm like, no. I'm coming in your office. Oh, yes. Because I need to give them these papers, and they're going to have them on their desk. And then we're going to have our phones ringing off the hook. And we're doing this all over the world on May the 2nd. SOS, Save Our Skies. May the 2nd, we're doing the international action. But the 20th, I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to present my documents. And I'm going to get to see all these people who have been avoiding calling me and avoiding my, presence. So, yeah. And then we're just going to go from there. I mean, I'm getting advised.
Are you giving them a deadline for action? What are you going to tell them?
Well, basically, I'm giving them the documents and all of my information, and I'm saying this is a public health hazard. I'm not trying to get them in trouble. I'm not trying to make anybody wrong. I'm trying to protect our neighbors, and they don't know about solar radiation management. So I don't fault them for that. I'm not mad at them. It's like a race against the clock to try to articulate calmly to these people who can make decisions that can change the outcome and stop these programs. I totally believe that we can do that. I mean, that's why we're here. It's just a civilian intervention. And this is where our energy is needed right now. I totally have confidence in this plan. And do I know how it's going to come out? No, it just depends on what we put into it.
Well, I mean, we got to try. I mean, there's no guarantees in life. I mean,
right.
But you have to be on the right side of the issues, folks. And that's why I love what you're doing. You've got a plan, you've got supports, you've done your research. I mean, you're determined. I mean, you've got all the requirements to be a very successful activist, and I just love it. I just think it's the best idea I've heard yet in the geoengineering movement, and I'm just shocked that I didn't know about it sooner. But thanks to Suzanne Mayer, I love that woman. I know about this now. So let's get into the next stage then. You're talking about, this is something I didn't even know about until just now. May 2nd, worldwide action. Let's first talk about all the countries you have cooperating with you on taking samples.
Yeah, let's find these countries.
You've got how many? I've got Netherlands, Canada, UK, Spain, US, France, Ireland, Norway, New Zealand, South Africa, Italy, and Switzerland.
Yep, that's them.
Did I hit them all?
Woo! That's us so far. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you have connections with all these. You have people working on behalf of your initiative in all these countries.
Yes, we're going to work together now. Of course, in each country they have specific laws. So what we're going to do is we're going to provide documents that we have, and then they're going to go to the next step and the next mile, the last mile, and they're going to get the numbers and the contact names to who they are supposed to contact, and then we're working with law teams, so we're going to make the documents available so that it's state specific and region specific and nation specific. So it's a lot of work, but that's what we have to do to create the new paradigm, right? So and it's fun. It's been magical. Like I said, I mean, kind of like what started it off was when I saw that video of Martin Horst from the Netherlands a few weeks ago. And he put the Netherlands sort of on notice. He called the secret police there, or the secret service, and he asked them, "Hey, do you know about solar radiation management? And what's going on over our skies?" And he has this very interesting talk with this guy for like say 15, 20 minutes. And at the end of the thing, the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm going to look into this. Thank you for telling me." And Martin was also.
He didn't tell him he was recording the call.
No, he did not. He did not.
I love it.
Dangerously, and that's all good. But.
So you heard this live on air. This.
No, I just saw. What happened was it was in Dutch, and Martin put English subtitles on it, and I just happened to see it. I stumbled upon it on Facebook. I was like, what is this? And then somebody was like, oh, this is hilarious. So I was like, okay, I could use hilarious. So I checked it out, and it was like, yeah, he was like totally. Well, first what he did was he called the airport, and he said, I'm so-and-so from, this agency, and I would like to speak with, whoever there is doing solar radiation management. And, he got changed from phone to phone to phone. And then finally someone got on the phone and was like, yeah, I can tell you about solar radiation management. And he was like, what? Oh, good. Well, tell me about solar radiation management. And the guy he was vague, but he acknowledged that he did it. And then Martin had his phone number. So Martin's all like, this guy does solar radiation management. He's poisoning the sky. So then he called.
This guy who worked, he was in the what? Was he one of the air traffic controllers? What was his position in the airport?
We don't know. See, because Martin was calling around in the airport just asking, who's in charge? I need to speak with someone. We're changing our policy about solar radiation management. And we need to speak with whoever's doing that there. And everybody was like, well, he's getting put to the next office and the next office. And then finally someone came up. So we don't know. But it was legit because he talked to him for a while.
But he didn't get a name? He
got the guy's name and he got the guy's number. Yeah, he talked to the guy on the phone. And then, he was like, okay, I got that. And then he called the Secret Service and was like, hey, is it up to you to protect the skies over the Netherlands? And they were like, yeah, why are you calling? And Martin was like, well, do you know about solar radiation management and albedo management? And they were like, no. And he goes through the whole conversation with the guy. And it's very much like what we're doing. We are educating these people. They do not know. They're like, the system is really compartmentalized. And it's like the Manhattan Project. It's like, of course they can do this. Of course they can. 9/11. Look at all of these false flags. We're dealing with an element that is the organizing principle of our society, and it's a terrorist organization, okay? It's a parasite. And the sooner that we extract that from ourselves, and that's what we're attempting to do with this campaign too. I mean, once we extract that parasite that has been
Oh, Jolie, we're coming up on a break, so please go on mute, and we can chat a bit in the chat box, and we'll be back soon, folks, with more of I'm Nature and the amazing activist Jolie Diane after the break. Welcome back, one and all, to I'm Nature. I'm your host, Brian Porter. We're having a great conversation with Jolie Diane, an amazing activist who's running a worldwide campaign to put pressure on governments to stop geoengineering. One of the baseline of her action is actually a great testing system for rainwater. We'll get back into that in a second. I've got to put my plug in for supporting Revolution Radio. It's the most amazing format that I know of. 2 platforms running close to 24/7, 90 different hosts, everyone doing it on their own dime. Nobody here is getting paid. We have absolute and complete freedom to discuss anything that we feel is necessary. We cover all the topics from worldwide news, economics, politics, international politics, psychic issues, spiritual issues. You name it. We've got it covered at Revolution Radio. We're the most popular listener-supported platform in the world. But we do need your support, folks. I understand there's a deal right now where you contribute $50 and you get a silver dollar coin, which I think is worth about $20 now, maybe $18. Don't quote me on that. I haven't been buying too much silver lately, but it's certainly a nice gift in return. And I also say, hey, for $4.95 a month, you can get access to 90 different shows, download them, and listen to them at your leisure. So please, one and all, support Revolution Radio. Now, getting back to Jolie and what she's up to, I've got a question coming out here about test kits. I don't think it's a test kit format, is it, Jolie?
No, unfortunately, we want the test to be court admissible, and that's why we're having professional lab analysis done. And that's why we're also sponsoring the GoFundMe, so people will be able to do this and participate, and we'll be able to get the test done and start finding out where it's happening on the map and everything.
Oh, okay. So you considered getting echo.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I haven't done anything different, so I'm not sure why the echo, but is it still happening? Or
Let me turn things down at my end. Sometimes these things come up.
Yeah.
That's better.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
My volume's not responding.
Oh.
There it goes. Okay, that's better. Okay, so you're saying for technical reasons you cannot use test strips or something like that for testing?
No, because then you could have an argument. See, we're eliminating the argument here. We're not saying anything. We're just saying, look, there's aluminum in here. Now, there's supposed to be zero because it's our precipitation. If we measure the soil, they could say, well, there was already aluminum in there, so relax. But if we're measuring this precipitation, then that is an accurate measure of what is in our air, period. End of story.
Yeah. No, you don't need any technical ways out, back doors. I agree with that. That's a great point. Now, you threw up an event that's happening, I believe, in New York City on the 18th of April. Maybe you could share that with the audience.
Yeah, okay. So, we're looking for some fun people to come out to New York City. Actually, this was talking with Alexandra May Hunter and Olga Rafa the other day, and we've been working on this project for a while. And anyway, we Alexandra found out that Ken Caldera plays bass in a band. Can you believe it? Anyway.
Okay, well, again, to those that aren't up to scratch on all the main figures in geoengineering, who's Ken Caldera?
Okay, Ken Caldera, he's famous. He's one of the biggest promoters and biggest profiteers of geoengineering. And as we know, geoengineering is responsible for killing the planet. And so yeah, we were I'm kind of offended that this guy thinks that he can just go and let his hair down and try to go shred on bass, when the planet is totally being destroyed because of something that he's profiting from. So I put the name of the band is Fistful of Facts. Yeah, they're so smart. So we made up our own little flyer with our own little facts. And because these geoengineering programs are just there to usher in a one world government with a carbon-based economy, and it depends on the false premise of global warming. I'm sure a lot of people already know that, thank God. But a lot of people don't. So anyway...
Well, I think there's a lot of people who are still very... I mean, that whole argument was designed to sidetrack us from understanding the effects of geoengineering. It's actually all the major... I'm not going to say that, burning oil and gas and everything is great for the atmosphere, and especially the shipping. It's doing a lot of damage to the oceans, more so than land. But folks, I mean, the major cause of climate disruption is geoengineering. We have all the facts, we have the research, we have the patents, we have all the evidence. I mean, it's mind-boggling. And God, I mean, it's a private industry now. Half the people. I mean, there's hundreds of companies doing this stuff. It's basically, I don't know if you call it legalized, but it's happening all over the place, and there are people selling their services. I mean, it's beyond a doubt that it's happening. Yeah,
exactly, and it's so far beyond a doubt that it was banned at the UN by 193 countries in 2010. Oh yes, you can go look that up. They did ban geoengineering.
That's a very powerful document. If you
you can just go Google it. There's plenty of Washington Post has an article, and I will put that one up later. I have that as part of my the materials that I present. But yes,
Google geoengineering banned by UN in 2010. Will that get you to the right place?
Yes, it will. Yeah, that should. Banned by the UN, 193 countries in 2010. The United States was not one of them. The United States, in fact, turned a blind eye and decided just to go ahead, because the thing about it is these are military programs, and you better believe they're not going to just stop because there's some environmental law. Come on, they don't care about environmental laws. Come on, get real. So that's the thing. That's what we're dealing with, and that's another aspect that we're prepared to face. I am prepared to face that. That is important. We cannot let that go by, because again, all this technology, and we have to remember that the Gwen towers, the smart meters, this kind of technology that works in unison with the aerosols, this is what's causing a significant amount of damage. And in fact, it's the same fracking technology. This is what, if you want to find out a lot about this stuff, if you read Alana Freeland's book, Chemtrails HARP and the Full Spectrum Dominance of Planet Earth, she does a great job at like mapping everything out so that you can understand the larger context of what these programs are about. Because yeah, they are chemtrails.
Have you ever talked to Billy Hayes?
A little bit. I haven't had an interview with him, but I just follow him because it's just like a wealth of information, whatever he puts out there, like a lot of these people. But yeah, I did ask him, I had some questions for him. A few weeks ago, one of my friends sent me some photos, and it looks like this, it's the Gwen towers, it's these crazy boxes, just stuff that shouldn't be there. And yeah, he was able to, pretty much give a good description and tell us what it is. And we have to understand.
He's an expert on all the technology involved in geoengineering. He actually he actually built HARP up in Alaska. He's suffering the consequences health-wise of having worked around all these highly radioactive and high energy systems. But no, he's a super guy, and he's Elena's main resource for information. So they're like a team. And I'm hoping to get them back on together. He'll do an interview anytime you get Alana, but he won't do one on his own. He said, no, I'll only do an interview if you get Alana Freeland on. And she's busy writing her new book, so.
Space Fence.
And that's good. Hopefully she'll be at the conference. That's something else that we should talk about. Matt Landman sent me a little message in Facebook saying he's got a new video. I'm not sure where it is. I couldn't find it, but hopefully it'll get out there. But this conference in Vancouver is going to be extremely important for people to attend. It's on May the 7th, and I'm actually driving across Canada with some friends who are going to come back and do a whole month tour, just educating people in the towns that they stop at. They've got some things planned. But this van is just littered on the outside with information about geoengineering groups, the support. Suzanne's on there. There's a group called GAG, Geoengineering Awareness Group Canada. They're trying to create a community of geoengineering groups across Canada. I believe we need. It sounds to me like you're sort of doing that internationally with your initiative, which is that's even better. I mean, let's face it, we're all dealing with the same problem.
Yeah, and we are very much aligned with what you're doing, and this is the thing that's happening is that even though we're having one event here and one event there and stuff, the resonance of this is huge. And thanks to Matt Lemon for all that he's doing. He's done a remarkable job, just kind of building this and.
Oh, I mean, he's had 3 or 4 smaller events leading up to it. I hope there's a great turnout. There's going to be 12 or 15 top speakers, people like you who've dedicated their lives to maybe the last 10 years to studying this very complicated technology, trying to figure it all out, all of its nuances, its the scientific methodology and everything. It's not easy, folks, and a lot of these people didn't come from these backgrounds, but they've taken the time and this patience and the studying, and they've worked together, and this is what we need. We need people who are going to take the time to figure it out and get it straight and make it understandable. That's the other key factor. Make it understandable. Get through all the chemistry and the physics. That's what we talked earlier about Jim Lee, and what a great job he's done at trying to break it all down.
Yeah, his site, Climate Viewer, is remarkable, and it's such an amazing resource.
It's another guy that would be a great ally. If I'm sure you're going to have more than one meeting. He wants to come back to Washington and get in front of the EPA.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have to. This is not like a team-led effort. Civilian action teams. It's the whole idea is to empower leaders, and so I hope that this will inspire people and get people to think of their own ways of connecting. What I did was I just simply started calling these people and just kept calling and calling and calling, and anyone can do that. And so that's what you need to do. You just you need to establish relationships. I mean, believe me, they're not gonna call you. They're not. They will not. That's why we're here, because it's an intervention. Listen, the military.
Are you kidding? I lived in a government town, Ottawa, the capital of Canada, and honest to God, if 1% of the tax dollars are actually used efficiently, I'm going to be shocked. Most people who work in government jobs are told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and they do the same thing day in and day out. They're burnt out, they're bored as hell, but they're paid, and they're paid very well, and they get great benefits, and they don't complain. They're bored as hell most of the times. The only people that work are the top people at the in the levels of what they call them DGs here, Director Generals, people who are high up in the departments. They're the only ones who actually have a job. Everybody else is just putting in time. And geez, I hate to put down civil servants, but it's basically a job creation program. Government. And we within we don't have time to talk about that now, but my model of reorganizing government and societies, we can pretty much live without government if we did things properly and efficiently. We won't even need them. All they do is find ways to waste money and fight wars.
I think
and really, I mean
really
can you imagine if we lived in a world where we had little communities the way it was when we came here and blew it all up, and our warlords came here and destroyed 1,200 distinct societies that all connected with nature 500 years ago approximately? You think any of these societies would have put up with this technology? You think they would have supported it? These people who lived off the land? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Jolie, they would have said, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Are you crazy? Killing the mother? I mean, this is what we got to realize. We've completely divorced ourselves from Mother Earth and her incredible abundance and beauty. We've gotten into this war mentality, war in every aspect of our lives. It's on TV. It's in the movies. It's the violence. It's the culture that we're living in that has to be changed.
Yes, and I think that we should examine that, because we often say, oh, we are, we're doing this and we're doing that. We have to remember what the organizing principle is. That's a terrorist organization. That's the CIA. That's the organizing principle on this planet. And if we ever have any desire to liberate ourselves, then we will extract that parasite from ourselves, and that's going to lead to the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, the EPA, all the agencies, because you cannot violate environmental laws, and I don't care what agency you're in. And so that's where we're at. As a group of people, we're just consciousness. Yeah. We're just.
Well, I'm glad that you're cognizant of how far it's going to have to go, because here's
the thing. It's a very small thing, though. Look at it's the organizing principle is a very tiny thing, and as a consciousness, we can change our direction simply by changing hats. We're now a military society, a human civilization, but perhaps. And this is where we can come in now and change the story. Perhaps we can come in and change hats to our construction hats. Therefore, the military doesn't have to change anything. Just give them a shovel instead of a gun. Help them we're going to clean up the planet instead of destroy it. It's just the one element, the parasitic element, is the CIA and these people that have taken a coup over the United States government. This is going decades. They shot Kennedy. I mean, there's a lot going on here. And I feel sorry for the people that think, oh, I'll just vote this time, and then, this person will keep their promises. Well, if you didn't learn something from what Obama has done and the crimes that he continues to do, and Guantanamo is still open, the Guantanamo torture camps, are you kidding me? No, we cannot vote our way out of this. We can, however, be what we're supposed to be as civilians, because it's not, as a free society, we can't allow our government to be militarized. And that's what's happened very slowly over time, because there's no civilian involvement, there's no civilian influence. And with the passage of Citizens United, anybody can donate any amount of money from anywhere without accountability to buy off all the politicians. So if we think that we're going to vote our way out of this system, let's face it, Clinton is the chosen one. Not because I want her, but because she's in the club. That's how it works. It's the Trilateral Commission. It's the Council on Foreign Relations. It's the military industrial complex. It's the Pentagon, the DOD. It's this infrastructure. That's what we're going for, the jugular there. We're not going to waste our time trying to vote our way out of it. No.
Well, refreshing. I love what you're saying. Yeah, we're going to have to change more than the policies on geoengineering, but it's a great place to start because it's so obvious.
It's connected.
Yeah, but it's so obvious, and hopefully it'll lead to a cavalcade of all the other issues to come out.
Mm-hmm. Full disclosure.
Got to do with more than geoengineering, but man,
exactly.
It's a great start. It's an awesome start. It's so obvious. You can see it. So many of the toxins that we're emitting, we can't see. God, the worst thing, this Fukushima spilling every day into the Pacific Ocean, it's pretty much killed the Pacific Ocean. I mean, it's a sad, sad story. That is so dramatic, and the consequences of that. I've talked about on a couple of shows. Dana Durnford's my favorite activist in that area, a great Canadian living on the West Coast. But I mean, we've got a lot to do, and like you say, we can take all these trillions of dollars we're spending on military and war and turn it into rehabilitating the planet.
Exactly.
That's what we really need to do with this, because we got all over the U.S. and it's somewhat a problem in Canada, but your infrastructure is older than ours, so you got to replace all your water pipes.
Yeah.
And they're toast. I mean, everybody's dying of lead poisoning down there.
They are, and it's again, and that's why what we're doing is so important. And geoengineering issue does connect to fracking. It does connect to GMOs. It does connect to the smart meter technology, the Gwen towers. The Gwen towers are really important to talk about in terms of geoengineering, because these waves, the silent war, the aerosols are the silent war. Because remember, this is a military thing. Those aren't cell towers. Do you know? I'm sure you know probably a little about cell towers. I'm just learning about it, Brian. But basically,
Jim, our friend Jim Lee is he thinks cell towers are as responsible as anything for the soaring statistics on all the ailments in U.S. and Canada. I mean, the U.S. it looks literally like there's a cell tower in every corner when you look at his map.
Yes.
Cell towers, and God, how many? It seems like every year they have a new system that's faster, more highly energized. So they got to put up another tower. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
How much money they're putting in this? It's just a huge. It's pretty much, I think, probably the biggest industry right now is cell phones. Because God, I mean, everybody needs a new one every 3 months.
Yeah, communication systems. Yeah, and it's interesting because these technologies like smart meters and the Gwen towers that are so harmful, they didn't bother to get an environmental impact statement or an environmental assessment, which again makes them very vulnerable to a lawsuit, because you can't just go and pollute. Okay, and just because we can't see EMF frequencies, look at the trees. I mean, this is the thing. That's just as damaging, and we're taking that on with the geoengineering issue. We have to take that on because those aerosols are essential for these Gwen towers to work and to do what they need to do, along with the other technology. We don't even know what all of it is. I mean, this is the thing that we're discovering, and we're so grateful for the activists, again, that have done the research and taken the time to find out exactly what these are and what the terminology is. Because when we discovered that it's solar radiation management or Gwen towers and technology, then we have patents that go along with that ties into that. But anyway, the Gwen towers, these are very dangerous, and this is something that people have to really, really tune into, because the Wi-Fi tech, it just got rolled out onto the public, and we're not protected. It's not safe, so they're vulnerable to a lawsuit. Not only that, the smart meters, and I'm looking into this. I'm working with the legal team right now. We're trying to explore vulnerabilities, and we have plenty of them already. But here's a big one with smart meters, and anyone that doesn't have a smart meter yet, this is what you need to know. Those things don't have UL codes. If you don't know what a UL code, it's like this code on any device in the United States, at least, and you have to have this code for safety, fire safety. Well, guess what? We don't have them on these smart meters. These were deployed because, again, this is military technology. And so they exempt themselves from any environmental protections. And that is why they are guilty. They will answer for this. They cannot just go around committing a violation after violation. Their federal programs are violating our state laws. And yeah, we will confront them on this. I'm fully prepared to confront these people on this. And it's, it's kind of like, what else can we do? It's like, that's what I stopped my life in California, because they're not going to stop this until we get in those offices and we confront them. And guess what? They're breathers. They'll come around. They just don't know. They're all compartmentalized. Our brothers and sisters in the military, they don't know what they're doing. They're just following orders, and they depend on the civilians to step in. And they're waiting for us, and they've been waiting for us. You know what? They've been in these wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan. They're miserable. These people go and they get destroyed psychologically and physically, and then they come back and it's just like
50% are committing suicide when they return.
Yeah, you know what?
It's
these are just
a sad situation.
Yeah, it goes back to what you were saying though about the organizing though. Why are we organizing this way? These kids that are in the Army, they just wanted to go to college, but in order to get to college, they had to go jump hoops through the military because they couldn't afford it. And that's what this infrastructure has done. This is what this parasitic 1% has done. They have organized us so that we're fighting each other and we're having these jobs that are harming each other when we could be doing something totally different. And that's why we have to create the new thing. And they will become obsolete. We won't need them anymore. We don't need them.
We have to recreate the human soil, the human community, the smallest, beautiful world. This is the way we're supposed to be living. I've interviewed people who live in eco-villages, and I mean, Kasia Joubert, the head of the Global Eco-Village Network, getting the two mixed up. She talked about living in an eco-village and how beautiful it is. They grow all their own food. A lot of them create their own power. The whole village of, say, 100 people, 200 people, every child is considered a child of everyone. It's a free flow of support, of love, of caring, of education. I mean, they don't have to go to school, these kids. Everything's there. Everybody has a skill set. They all share their knowledge. And this one guy, Michael Baker, super guy, he set up his own village. He said all three of his kids learned their arts. One of them was a mime artist. One of them was, the other two were musicians. And they were making a living because they were so talented. It was all learned inside this eco-village. This is the way we're supposed to live, folks. The way we were set up now, like you say, compartmentalized. Nobody knows their neighbor. Sounds like you've gone out of your way to meet people, which is fantastic. But naturally, you just live in a community and you meet people. And through family and raising of kids and everything, you just meet people. This is the way we're supposed to live, folks. Mm-hmm. This is the human soil. This is what we got to get back to. That's why the Amish don't have cancer. That's why they're much more healthy, because they're not exposed to all this radiation and all the GMOs and all that crap that most people are inhaling and eating. And it's great. I mean, there are better options in the way we're living, and there's a lot that has to change, but it's happening. People are doing it. It's just that we're not talking about it, and that's what my show is all about.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
Well, I mean, you're part of the solution. We got to live better, and we also got to fight the machine. We got to convince these people that they're doing the wrong thing, and that nobody's going to win in the end.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the planet's gone. Nobody wins.
Yeah, we're here to make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah,
where are they going to go?
I want to give a quick shout out to and a big thank you to Michael J. Murphy, who has been.
That guy.
He's been really just great. He was very encouraging with my campaign initially into Congress in December before the COP21 in Paris. And, I called him up and I asked him if I could volunteer or anything. And he was like, oh, you can do the memes if you want. And so I've gotten to, I don't sleep very much, and it's given me a lot of ways to get rid of this like angst, doing like these memes and everything, and just being able to work with him. And I also want to give a shout out to Dominic Marama, who does some of the graphics as well. Just so amazing. And he actually did the Civilian Action Team graphic. So I want to thank him because he's just remarkably talented, and he's an activist in his own right. I mean, he's out there, he's doing amazing things. So I just want to say.
Well, see, what you're doing is you're creating a natural organizational structure. You're creating a family of people who care about this issue, and this is the solution. This is the key. I mean, we don't all have to live in the same house to be a family. We can be a network. And that's what you're doing, and this is what's so fantastic. But we have to continue this process. We have to not just create a network of all the geoengineering people or anti-geoengineering people. We have to create a network of all the environmental movements, all the people fighting for political justice, for economic justice, all the different movements. We have to come together and lay out a new plan.
I agree that all of the groups are important and that they have to work together. And I'm very much aware, due to recent circumstances, that you have to be careful having a large group. You don't want to get infiltrated and co-opted, like with what happens with a lot of these large groups. So that's why with Civilian Action Team, it's focused like on supporting leaders. Like, we're not creating any followers. We're saying, look, you have what it takes. You have everything you need to be effective as an advocate for this planet. Okay, we're going to give you tools and documents, numbers, contacts. Yeah, we're excited about this, and we don't want, I get, like, again, because like just looking at this context of large movements over time, and the way that the system has adapted to that. Now, the way the system has adapted to handling large movements is by just getting more soldiers to beat you up. They don't want you to be able to resolve your grievances in a peaceful way. So that's why we cannot ever cooperate with them and become violent, because why give them what they want? We should always do the opposite of what the establishment wants, which is to come together as brothers and sisters around the world and implement a new way. We don't need to ask permission to do it. And we have all the tools we need to clean up the planet. The crucial time is now, though, because we need to stop these geoengineering plans. They are connected to all of the other wars. Okay? The military-industrial complex, again, we're going for the jugular. And they cannot prove that they're not doing some sort of weather modification. They cannot prove it. They can't prove that they're not doing SRM. No way. So we got them on the back foot. We're on offense right now. It's very unusual because we're used to being on defense, because let's face it, this establishment has been out to get us for thousands of years. But now we're on offense because they never thought we'd learn how to read. You know what I mean?
I love your attitude, but we'll save the issue of creating a larger unified movement for another time, because I don't think you quite understand what I want to do. And there's ways of keeping the infiltrators out. There's ways of people proving themselves. I'm looking at established people. I'm not looking at people who are just coming out of the woodwork to run things. But anyways, hey.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, look, Brian, I would support anything you did.
I think there's a caller, Warren. Are you with us now, Warren?
I am.
Oh, good. Okay. Warren is calling in. Do you have any questions for Jolie?
Oh, yes, I have at least 19. But,
Hi, Warren.
I'm sure she'll have no problems answering them.
I'm sure. Thank you, Miss Jolene. Yeah, I may have missed a little bit about, maybe you didn't talk too much about how to, is there a way to, collect the water and send it to somebody, or send it to you, or?
Yeah, totally.
How do we do that? Or we put out a pan outside when it rains and collect it and put it in something?
Yeah, that's a great question, Warren. are using like the small glass jars, just a mason jar, and you just collect your rainwater, and then you want to cover it up, put it in the fridge until you're going to call us or email us and arrange. You go to Civilian Action Team. You want to join us on Facebook, and then we will collaborate with you to get the test mailed, and then get you the results. And then you can share that. You're free to share it with your friends and family, and hopefully you'll make copies of the report and send it to your representatives and newspapers and medical journals and, anyone that has a position of authority. You just want to show them that there's aluminum in the water. So, yeah, and then we're going to find a few different labs, so it'll be easy to do. And you just package it up all nice. And, it's pretty easy.
I may not be in a real good area. The area I live in is so rural. I am out in the middle of nowhere. But occasionally, I will see a chemtrail, but it will be where the wind currents will be blowing it either to the north or to the south, where the population areas are. We're just in the middle of a non-populated area here, and so I may only see a chemtrail maybe once a month, and it's usually done when the wind currents are real strong, and so it usually blows it out of here pretty quick. So I may not be a good area, but I know we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 major, large metropolitan size cities where I live in the state that I live in, way down in the deep south in Alabama, and I'm sure I know when we go to our capital city here, Montgomery, where we have 2 air bases, that when we go there, I usually see several chemtrails over that city every time we go there.
Okay.
So it looks like they're mainly targeting the real big metropolitan areas, and I hear that California gets covered up with them, and places like New York City and Chicago and so forth, Miami and so forth, really get covered up with the chemtrails. So it looks like a big city kind of thing. But I would still like to try it, and be a part of the program, because I know it's it's what Alex Jones calls a slow, soft death. They're just killing us one breath at a time.
They're trying. Yeah, they are. They're pretty desperate.
Yeah.
Sure don't want a lawsuit.
Yeah. I'd like to
Jolie,
go.
wouldn't the the fact that there's so much chemtrailing going on, that the whether or not it's right over top of your head, it's going to be coming in with rain?
Yeah.
Not. I mean, it's going to be showing up.
Yeah, I think we should kind of look at it this way as well. As the Earth is a living organism, and the Earth doesn't have any boundaries. And so what happens is, in the atmosphere, whatever pollutants are introduced will be absorbed into the atmosphere, which will be absorbed into us. So that's basically the real broken down issue. So again, I think I couldn't really make any conclusive statement about, they have this, this is their intention here, this is their intention here. No, I think that they're just, they're trying to do these programs everywhere and destroy as much as possible, because again, this one element, the 1% element, is desperate to hang on to their plutocracy, because the last thing they want is for people to get ideas like, hey, if we found that trillion dollars that Donald Rumsfeld was talking about on September 10th, 2011, everybody could be a millionaire.
Yeah, I think I think that it would be interesting to see if there are parts of the U.S. where there's less aluminum in the water too. I mean, I'm sure, though, that there's going to be high, above what is normal levels of strontium, aluminum, and barium in all the rainwater all over North America. I mean, it's just
That's
there's just no doubt. But it's good. The more representative the sampling, the better for the case. So Warren, it would really be good if you got involved. I'm definitely going to do a sample once I get back home here in a few days.
Yeah, I want to do that.
I want to help out. I've thought about doing it now that Diane's out there or Jolie's out there doing this. I want to help her. I want to help. I want to get involved. I want to do something that's going to be used in a positive way to make our case, because we need to make it big time. There's a lot of people probably new. Do you have how many people are doing this up in Canada?
Well, right now I have 3 point people in Canada. And basically what it is awesome. It's like what I've been trying to do is connect with people who are like already doing this, so they already know their legislators and who to call and so forth. I had someone call me from Norway, or check in with me from Norway. It's just beautiful because, again, like, you have to realize that as we are here, that's how everybody is around the world. South Africa, I mean, they just don't. Again, we are just becoming familiar that this is military advanced science. Is very complicated, is very complex. We've been dumbed down for a reason so that we would never learn how to understand geoengineering or any of these concepts. But we can do it, and the people on Facebook are educating us. There's plenty of people out there that are sharing credible, verifiable information, and I wouldn't know a thing without them. So again, it's truly a blessing, and anything that I can do and that we can do to push this ball forward. Like, you know, Clifford Carnicom has been trying to blow the whistle on these crimes since the 1990s, and he's done an incredible amount of investigation. And again, we've won this case. We've done our homework, and the thing is that no one yet has gotten into the offices and really engaged these people and educated them, and B, gone after the military. Because these are military programs, and that's who's doing it. And they have a free pass to violate, and that's not okay. They can't violate environmental laws. And, you know, I know their computer, this is where it's going to come. You know, look, their communication systems are dependent on the aerosols. Dependent. And the Gwen towers. That means they're dependent on breaking environmental laws? I don't think so. They need to, there's something that's going to happen here. I don't know what it is, but the more people that find out about it, just call your rep, get on the phone, say, hey, look, I've seen the lab tests, and I know that there's the SRM aluminum footprint in our precipitation, and I'm really concerned, and I'd like to know what you're going to do about it, and I would like a written response regarding my concerns about the aluminum footprint of solar radiation management in my precipitation. And then they will send you a letter, and it will have, thank you for contacting us about your concerns regarding the solar radiation management footprint of aluminum in your precipitation. See, they're cooperating with it, and then they're playing right into the EPA violations report that we filed in the beginning of March, saying, hey, there's a public health and safety hazard here. So yeah, we're tying them up in their own red tape, and they're going to have to deal with it. And the sooner we get on the phone and get in those offices, the sooner they will deal with it, because the last thing they want is a bunch of well-dressed people that are articulate putting them on notice with documents in their offices in a coordinated fashion around the world. I mean, that's scary for those people.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, a follow-up from this interview, is that I'm going to be talking to the 3 people I'm driving out west with to this great conference that Matt Ladman is organizing in Vancouver on May 7th, and I'll be trying to get your program added to their list of education that they're going to be offering to people as they come back slowly across Canada and meet with the community, because this is something that should be done all over Canada as well. In much more than 3 places, and I think that should help get this thing moving in Canada, because 3 is not enough.
No, and that's what I mean. This has just happened, Brian. Honestly, in the last, I would say, week, we kind of dreamed up the idea, and it was like, yeah, let's do this. We'll get all those people that are on Facebook and like, that are already posting and stuff in the mornings, and we'll just have like a daily call. A daily call. You can take 30 seconds out of your morning with your coffee, make your call, send your email, okay, and then click the like to tell us that you made the action, and then we can keep track of how many calls we're making.
Are you Skyping?
Am I Skyping the?
When you talk to your the people that are cooperating with you.
Oh yes. Yeah, we've been Skyping. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so awesome, and it's so great. You're just meeting the people around the world that feel the same way, and that they're not just sitting on the couch and. No, they're doing something about it. I want to shout out.
Put your Skype name and number out there to the people who want to call.
I'm Jolie Diane-2016-04-13, and I just want to say a shout out to my sister Madison Star Moon. Who,
Maybe you should spell that for them. That would be better.
Okay.
Hillary Diane. How do you spell that? 811.
818. Here it comes. There you go.
818.
Yeah.
I thought you said Hillary. You're saying.
No, I wanted to say thank you to Amanda Bays. She did some EPA testimony, and she's been like relentless on the phone. I mean, I wish 1,000 people would be like she is. Madison Star Moon. She is relentless. She has called the EPA. She's on the phone all the time talking to people, and this is what we need. We need people out in the street talking to people. Just whenever you're going to the gas station, you look up, you see a big trail, tell the person next to you. Don't pretend that it's not happening. That's what's dangerous. What's dangerous is that we've been convinced that our own observations are not good enough for science. But that's not true. We have eyes for a reason. If you look up and you see that there's aerosols in the sky, that there's something, pollution up there, chemtrails, whatever you want to call it, I don't care what you call it, just say something. We need to just talk to the people in front of you at the line at the grocery store. Talk to the people, your kids, the people that, the teachers, anyone that you can talk to, and present them with this documentation. You're not just making stuff up. Present them with the Harvard studies. Present them with the NASA studies. Present them with the government documents. We're not talking about our opinions here.
Well, who has the best web page for educating people on geoengineering?
I really like Rosalind Peterson's. She's fantastic. It's www.agriculturedefensecoalition.org. And she really has done her homework, and, I trust her information. And she has been in the offices as well. She was the one that got that letter from Kay Bailey Hutchinson, and she has given so much to this. And, she would be somebody that could offer very, very good information.
Is there a link to her site on your Facebook page now?
I'll put one up. I have posted in the last couple days. She sent out some stuff that was just very heavy information. So go to my Facebook page, and I put from Rosalind Peterson on there.
I should probably get her on my show.
You should. She's the best. She's fantastic. She's an authority on this.
She must be getting on too, age-wise.
I don't know. She's firecracker. She's awesome. Yeah. She's really inspiring. And again, someone like that I would, model her approach, because it's very professional, and it's the way that we're going to beat the system.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, knowledge is power. And I love, the more people I interview in the geoengineering movement, the more I learn. And I feel that I'm pretty much a mid-level expert now on the issue. I've talked to quite a few people. I've studied it too myself for a few years, and for me it's more an issue of putting it in writing and getting my ducks in a row. But it wouldn't take me long to put together a presentation on the issue. I feel like I'm pretty solid. So that's what it takes. It's just a matter of taking the time, folks, to sit down and do what's important. and work on fixing this planet. And geoengineering is probably I rate it as the #1 eco issue because it's not well known like say genetically modified foods or radiation,
Right.
and these sorts of things. It's the worst thing about it is that it's not well known, and then that people are not complaining about it. There isn't enough protesting or, as you say, informed lobbying to get rid of it, to stop.
No, it's a money maker.
It's one of the easiest things to fix.
It is.
We just have to stop it. We have to stop these military jets from releasing it, and if it's in the jet fuel, you just have to get it out of the jet fuel. It's not hard to do.
Exactly. We have special laws in California for our exhaust systems, and we have to jump through hoops to pass the smog test, okay? And this is so laughable when you look up and you see those fat plumes just hanging out there for, 80 hours or whatever. I mean, it is preposterous. So yeah, we have to call them on that because we took sulfur dioxide out of the diesel fuel for a reason. All 50 states did it. And, you can't just pollute. I don't care who it is. You can't just pollute. And that's what they've done. The military says, whatever. We don't need your environmental laws. And so that's where we're going to catch them. And we will do that, and we'll transform ourselves in the process. I'm totally convinced of that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you totally. I love this. Okay, we're getting near the end of our stint here, and I just want to make sure people have the contact information. So I've got Jolie Diane, Jolie Diane 818 as a Skype contact. Do you have a designated time for when you do these calls, or do you have that set up yet?
No, and that's part of our ability to not be infiltrated, because it's going to be dependent on the activist time schedule. So we'll have it up, like, say, for the action of the day. We'll have, like, the talking points and the phone numbers that you need to call. And so, you'll just hop on over to our page in the morning, as you're surfing on Facebook, and just say, oh, okay, well, I'll call this person and this person. You take no longer than 15 seconds per call, because they're just recording what the issue is. They don't have an opinion. You just give them the info. And then that's it. You hit the like button, and then we can start keeping track. And, if people really want to stop this is what we have to do. We have to get on the phone. We have to have a human intervention. They need to hear our voices. And this is very much connected to the GMO and the fracking and everything else. We can't keep pretending that we don't see it. It's very, very serious, and we can do something about it. And they know we can. They're trying as hard as they can to make sure the public doesn't know the word geoengineering. So we need to learn that word. And not only that, solar radiation management geoengineering and albedo management. You need to ask your representatives about those issues.
What was the other management?
Albedo.
Albedo.
Albedo. ALBEDO. And
Albedo.
I am no expert, Brian. I am not. I am just trying my best to learn every day. And like I said, there's enough just brilliant people on Facebook that are educating me. And these programs, SRM and albedo management, those are programs that triggered Martin's. The Secret Service came to his house because when he was writing to his representatives, and he said, I'm very concerned about.
Albedo relates to sex drive, does it not? Isn't that what you're saying?
In this case,
it's sort of a population control measure, I'd say.
It has to do with climate regulation. It's part of the science. It's part of a geoengineering program. But you can look it up. I mean, this is the thing. There's tons of information. You have to know where to look. You're not going to find a lot of credible information if you just Google chemtrail. But if you Google solar radiation management, stratospheric aerosol geoengineering, carbon sequestration,
right,
management.
Right.
There's tons of science that goes around that. But
okay. Well, we got 2 minutes left here. I want to make sure people know how to contact you. So we got this Skype address out. What are the Facebook pages again?
Just Jolie Diane on Facebook, and then come on over and join our civilian action team. on Facebook.
This is a brand new site.
It's brand new. We put it up today, and we just got the GoFundMe. At first, the GoFundMe was like blocking me, and I was like, why? It said that it was something to do with a lawsuit, and I was like, but I'm not really gonna. Okay,